Is that fun? Blue Val. What are you doing? Hello my darlings, it's Chanel and welcome to a new reading vlog. So today it's a mood reading vlog and I'm going to tell you about all the books that I mood read. So as usual, I started with a tarot prompt. So the deck I chose this week was the Ephemera Tarot, which is absolutely gorgeous. And the card I pulled for it is the Page of Pentacles. So for the Page of Pentacles, the prompt is the shortest book on your TBR. And that was real easy. It's a book that was only 29 pages, and that was Red as Blood and White as Bone. So the book is a historical fantasy fairy tale kind of book. So in the beginning of the book, you have a young girl who has been orphaned and she's sent to a nunnery. And while she's there, she befriends this man who gives her a book of fairy tales. And when she says that she's not allowed to read anything that's not the Bible, he says to her, "Fairy tales are another kind of Bible for those who know how to read them." And so the beginning of the book is very fairy tale-esque. So she grows up and she gets a job as a kitchen maid at this manor, and she sort of has fairy tales running through her blood. So one day when a woman collapses at the back door of the kitchen, she believes this woman to be a princess in disguise. And so she brings her into the house and hides her. And let's just say the woman is not all she appears to be. I don't want to spoil the book because it's so short, but the second half of the book is her in, it seems to be World War II kind of time in Germany, and she's fighting with the resistance. So the period is a bit tricky. The fairy tale one feels like a fairy tale, medieval, whatever, and then the other part of the book feels very much like it's World War II and she's fighting against the German regime. I'm not quite sure, but I enjoyed it. I liked the way it was written. I very much liked the Princess in Disguise. She was my favorite character. I would say there are hints of different fairy tales in here, like Little Red Riding Hood and The Little Mermaid, and maybe even Cinderella. So it's sort of reminiscent of all the classic fairy tales we've grown up with. It is brutal and violent and sad in parts. With the book, mostly is mentioning fairy tales a lot and what to take from them and how you can use them to shape your own character and your own tale and your own ending. So I enjoyed it. It was a 4-star read for me. I didn't even say what the goddamn book was called, did I? My bad. It is Red as Blood and White as Bone by Theodora Goss. And it is a 4-star read for me, so it was a fantastic kickoff to my reading. I'm now going to go in order from the ratings for the rest of the books. So the book that I enjoyed the least for this reading vlog was Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson, which came in at 464 pages and is a fantasy, gothic, dark academia book. I should have DNF'd it, but the reason I persevered is because so many people were loving it, and it was originally nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards. It didn't make it to the final round, but when I saw it, it was in the top 20, so I thought, okay, let me see what this is about. So many people are talking about it and loving it. Let me get in on that action. I ended up rating it a 2.5 stars. So I didn't love it, but you have a main character. Sometimes I speak like Laszlo Cravensworth and I don't do it intentionally. You have a main character named Lennon, and the book opens up with her basically being a housewife and in a very unsatisfying relationship where she's clearly codependent and has just shaped herself to be whatever her husband wants her to be. And they're supposed to be celebrating their engagement party. She ends up noticing that he and their mutual friend are not there. And so she goes searching and finds them furiously fornicating in a bathroom. And she decides, okay, I'm done. She steals his expensive car and she has the intention of ending her mortal existence. But while she's en route to her impending death, she gets a phone call saying that she's been accepted into the Draven Academy. She's like, what are you talking about? I didn't apply for anything. They're like, Lennon, you have been accepted. Meet us here at this time to start your admittance. She ends up going, And she finds out it is a magical academy that is hidden by an illusion for gifted individuals. So this is definitely giving sort of Umbrella Academy vibes in the sense of, I heard a rumor, and a little bit of, oh, what's it called? Ordinary Monsters. If it's not the title, I'll put the picture of the book up. It was giving that kind of vibe. So basically, this school is for people who have the gift of persuasion, but they literally can persuade you. And this is one of my biggest issues with this. This gift inherently is incredibly manipulative and doesn't care about consent and boundaries. So all of these people were not likable. They were assholes. They obviously can convince you of anything. They can also kill you with this power. The power is also up for purchase. So certain people can buy them to use their powers to, I don't know, sway politics, sway certain laws being passed, that kind of vein. So it's very dark grey at best, this book. But basically everyone is an asshole in it. So there was not a character I liked because they are messing with people's free will. They're just completely overriding it. And Lennon is no exception. She has no qualms about who she uses her powers on, including her own sister, who's literally trying to help her. And that's what left the bitterest taste in my mouth. There was a scene that involved them, and it made me despise Lennon, what she did to her sister when her sister was literally trying to save her life and was kind of aware that Lennon was harming her and then asked her to stop, and Lennon did not. For me, the most interesting part about this book was the main character love interest's moth tattoos. If you don't like insects, you won't like this, because at the beginning of each chapter 2, there's a picture of a moth. Sorry. And yeah, so Dante is her advisor at university. So there is that student-teacher dynamic. Obviously, they're all adults, but if you don't like that, you also won't like what's going on there. I didn't like the romance at all. I thought it was quite yuck and just not something I was into. It was kind of gross. But yeah, Lennon is just an absolute bitch to everyone. The way she speaks to people, like I said, including her friends or including people that she doesn't know very well, just was incredibly rude. So rude and uncalled for. She was a bit of a brat. She'd gone from being this very meek, controlled, submissive woman to all of a sudden, yeah, being fuck all of y'all, and was very quick to condescend to people, to bully them into doing what she wants to do. There are a lot of people that, for instance, there was this thing where she wanted to partake in these very experimental, dangerous drugs in order to access this ability for her. So there's portal fantasy in this, in that she can summon an elevator to other worlds and times. So the elevator is a portal, and she's one of the very few people that have this summoning ability. And she was having trouble accessing her power, so decided to resort to dangerous drugs, and she bullied these other people into being her trip sitters, basically. And they were bringing up reasonable concerns and worries, and she's like, stop being such a little bitch, you know. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, this book was not to my particular taste, but it is massive. I am not in general a dark academia fan, so already that was going against it. But yeah, the relationship dynamic also wasn't for me. And like I said, Umbrella Academy and Ordinary Monsters done just so much better in terms of plot and character development and the magic system. This one just, yeah, it kind of just fell flat for me. I think it does also remind me of The Immortal Dark. I can't remember the name of the title, but that's also going massive right now, and this feels like that too. So I think if you love that book, you probably will love this one as well. They're very similar in their vibe and their characters and their energy. So yeah, there are people who would really enjoy this, but for me, it was a 2.5-star read. The next book that I picked up is Apples Dipped in Gold, a fairy tale retelling by Scarlett St. Clair. So this is a romantasy, a dark romantasy that contains fae. So I'm just going to show you a bit of the illustrations in this, because that is what won me over. So you've got beautiful map work there, but then you actually have these full page, just stunning illustrations. So here you've got a carriage in a wood, but obviously every chapter head also has just beautiful little illustrations underneath as well. And I'm all for bringing illustrations into adult books. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't like to see a picture every now and again. So this is what suckered me into this, because Scarlett St. Clair is normally an author that I don't tend to go for. In this particular tale, oh my God, it is a bit grimdark as well. It's incredibly depressing when it opens up. So you have the main character, whose name is Samara. She lives with her brothers. I feel like there were 3 of them, could have been 4. I don't remember anymore. And they are nasty sons of bitches. Okay, they abuse her physically and verbally. They just live to torture her, basically. And the reason that she doesn't flee, run away, is because she's worried that they're going to kill her pets in retaliation. So she has a horse and a cat. Horse named Rooster, cat named Mouse, and she thinks that they will harm her animals if she tries to get away. So I get that. I'm like, babes, oh my God, I get it. But it was just brutal reading the beginning, where it's just torture porn, basically, and just all the ways that they hurt her on a daily basis, though she does absolutely nothing to warrant any of their harm. Eventually, she's in the woods one day and a prince casts eyes upon her and wants to marry her, wants to take her away from the abuse. And he tells her, don't worry, I'll pay your brothers for your freedom in gold, and then I will send them horses and cats to replace the two that you love so we can keep them safe. So it seems like she's got a ticket out of there. Unfortunately, oh, am I going to spoil it? Okay, no, it says, yeah, they're ambushed on their way from the country, and she ends up being rescued by the wicked Prince of Nightshade, who demands a favor in return. So she ends up meeting another prince, and he wants her to make a wish on these golden apples to free him from his curse. So he is cursed to be in love with someone that doesn't love him in return. And so they set off in a little questaroonie to do that. I felt this was incredibly insta-lovey. It was so insta-loving. I just didn't feel anything. Samara herself just didn't have much agency at all. She was just constantly being saved by other men. And I wanted just a bit more courage from her, a bit more decisiveness. The most interesting character in this was a fox, and that fox did the most. The fox did all the work in this. So the fox helps Prince Law and Samara complete their quest and saves Samara's life even more times than the princes do. So the fox is really doing it all. Yeah, this was okay. I've given it a 3 stars. It was very middle of the road. It didn't really do much for me. It is, like I said, darker, and it has spice. So this would be an M rating for me. So it's on page, and bits are described, but nothing severe, to be honest. So yeah, it was a 3-star rating for me. I love the illustrations. Very much a fan. The next book I read, I'm sorry for the glare, guys, is called The Cardless Tarot, a Choose Your Own Destiny Tarot Reading Book by Kerry Ward. So this is fun. You do not need a tarot deck for this. This is like a Choose Your Own Adventure book, but in tarot form. So the book starts off, it's got beautiful illustrations. It's done on black paper. So this is an example of some of the illustrations in this book. So basically you have different guides. The guides are represented by major arcana. So here we've got the Emperor, and the question for the Emperor is, what is my next game-changing priority, ambition, or goal? So here it just talks to you about the Emperor card energy. And then what happens is, before you read the question, as soon as you look at the page, whatever catches your eye first, so there are different items and just elements on the page, so whatever catches your eye, think about that. So say if you saw the torch, you read the question here is, what message does my shadow self yearn to reveal to me? And then you go down to the torch and it tells you what page to go to. I'm going to show you the Empress card one. So this is the Empress card, and it was, when will I meet my next love? As you know, I'm on a journey of romance. So for me, I saw this heart brooch down here. So I went to the heart brooch page, and on that page, there are 3 cards that have been pulled. So you have the Emperor, the King of Wands, and the Ten of Wands. And then they tell you the Emperor card is signifying who you're going to meet. So this says, an Emperor, it's probably a man because it's the masculine card, so maybe I'm going to meet a man. An Aries, strong and powerful, dominant, ambitious, go-getting, successful, driven individual who will make an impact on my life. We might have some power dynamic issues between us, but if we balance it, it's okay. And then the next question is, when will I meet them? So this is King of Wands. So this is saying I will probably meet them in the month of April, August, or December. I could meet them through a fire sign friend, so someone who is an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. They might introduce us. Or I could meet them during an exciting activity, an adventurous activity. So maybe like at a gym or at a theme park or playing sports or some type of big event, fire signs. It's just like a lot of celebration and energy. And then the last question is, what step can I make today to move closer to this relationship? And it's the 10 of Wands. And it said, stop looking. Seriously, you know how they say that things appear when you're not looking? Well, the 10 of Wands is saying that. Rest, relax, please yourself, do things that you enjoy, and just be around good people, and they will come to you. So look, as you know, at the moment, I haven't gone on dates for a very long time. I've just been taking a break from online dating. So I'm like, okay, this is just more confirmation to do the same. If you follow tarot or not, it's just a bit of fun. Like I said, you don't need a tarot deck, and it's easier to go. It's not something that I would use again and again, obviously, but it was fun to go through all the questions and to see what all the answers were. I thought they were really well done in terms of how they explained the meanings of each card in pertaining to the question asked. So I thought that was well done. And like I said, you don't need a deck. You can just flip through, have some fun, have your fortune told for free if you go to a library and get it there. So this is basically a 4-star book for me. And the final book that I read was Fragile Beauty, Photographs from the Sir Elton John and David Furnish collection. So this is 247 pages. In the beginning of the book, you get an interview with Elton and David talking about their art collection. I will say, look, there are a lot of images in this that are really confronting, both in the theme and subject or in regards to full frontal nudity. Okay, so I obviously will not be showing you all of the photographs in this. I'd say there are, I can't show that one, that's one of the confronting ones. There are a lot of photographers repeated in here. So for instance, the main ones are Irving Penn, Richard Avedon, and Diane Arbus. So besides the interview, the author also sometimes writes a bit about the particular artists that are featured in here. So I'll just show you some of my favorite ones up close and personal. So for instance, I love, my face is so close. This is by Helmut Newton and it's called Elsa Peretti as a Bunny, New York. And it's a hot sexy lady in a bunny suit in New York, and I just love the composition and the framing. I also particularly liked this one, which is called it's by James Bidgood and it's called Blue Boy. I think the colors are stunning and the setup. It's very pretty. A lot of these photographs I think are fantastic. There is a lot of peen in here, both circumcised and uncircumcised. There's also this one by Wardell Milan called Here the Mysterious Host Raised in the South, Now Based in the North, curates a gathering of friends seeking sanctuary. So this one is a collage style image, which I also really enjoyed. So yeah, it was fun to flip through. I'd probably give it a 4 stars. I do like just looking at photography and art, and it was interesting to see what this couple chose as part of their collection. So that was Fragile Beauty. So to sum up all the books that I read in this reading vlog, we have An Academy of Lies by Alexis Henderson, which I gave 2.5 stars. Apples Dipped in Gold by Scarlett St. Clair, which I forgot to tell you how many pages this one was. It is 217, and I gave this a 3 stars. Then we have The Cardless Tarot by Kerry Ward. I forgot to tell you how many pages this was as well. I'm on a roll. 143. I gave this a 4 stars. Then we have Fragile Beauty, Photographs from the Sir Elton John and David Furnish collection, which I gave 4 stars. And my favorite read for this reading vlog, Red as Blood and White as Bone by Theodora Goss, which I gave 4 stars. So I'm just going to be going out and about a little bit. I'm going to be picking up my new advent calendar, chocolate, which I'm very excited for, going to the library to pick up some books for a book haul. And I'm also grabbing some books for a future vlog you will see this month, also sort of festive themed. I will put some more footage at the end of this vlog of my library haul and my adventures out. So I will see you in a little bit. This is the calendar by Gelato Messina. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed. It's got a nice little ribbon. I'll just show you one of them. This does have to be refrigerated. So inside it says what it is: cherry jam, coconut, cream, chocolate sable. So this little speckled delight here is fruit, mince, gingerbread cream, and gingerbread biscuit. Okay guys, I have returned. I grabbed the advent calendar. So this one has to be kept in the fridge. So we'll see how we go with that. For instance, in here we've got a little chocolate here. Oh my God, it's melting so bad. And this one is strawberry cream, vanilla cream, and chocolate sable. I also grabbed some books from the library. So let's just go through them. We've got The Eighth House by Linda Sechtman. Death as Told by a Sapiens to a Neanderthal by Juan Jose Milas and Juan Luis Arzuaga. Then we've got The Anime Cafe by Nadine Estero, which looks cool. Here we've got Living on Earth by Peter Godfrey Smith. Very cool cover. The Cloud Thief. Oh no, this is a middle grade. I thought this was a picture book. Oh well. But here we do have a picture book. Where to Hide a Star by Oliver Jeffers. The Bad Guys, episode 20, One Last Thing by Aaron Blaby. The final book I've got is The Adult by Bronwyn Fisher. So if you might recall, this was meant to be on a TBR but didn't come in time. It's come now. So I'll give that a go. If you might end up seeing these in some mood reading vlogs, or you might not. I was meant to go today, so I went to go and get Blind Date with the books because I saw them in the store yesterday when I went to see Moana. But when I went today, the only ones that were left were historical fiction set during the war, and I'm like, no, I'm not buying those. So I would still like to do a blind date with a book vlog. I'm just going to have to try and find a bookstore that is doing them, or if I can't, I'll end up buying some off Etsy. But I would like to do a vlog with blind date with the books to see how that goes. But I'm exhausted. It is hot as balls, and I will see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Until next time, stay well, Star Child.